Krishna. Ist der Vers auch? Okay. So Hare Krishna. Today we'll be reading from a book called Srimad Bhagavatam. This is a very great religious text in India, spiritual text which contains many interesting topics, and today we'll speak on the topic mind. Why is mind important in spiritual life? So we'll speak a little bit about this. So first we'll read this text which is called Sanskrit. Schade ist, dass alles sich auf Englisch vorbereitet haben. Ich kann auf Deutsch, aber... Ja, das ist mein Gesicht, genau. So, funktioniert oder nicht? 2, 3, 4, 5.
Könnt ihr euch hier hinsetzen vielleicht? Wenn ihr euch hier hinsetzen wollt?
Kannst du richtig finden, bisher. So. Okay, wer noch braucht deutsche Übersetzung, kann hier sitzen. Okay, so we'll read this text from the third canto. Srimad Bhagavatam has 12 cantos, 12 different tiles, parts. And this is the chapter 28, text number 1. So before we read the text, we offer our respects to the author, or to Supreme Personality of Godhead. So we chant Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So I will say and you repeat. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So this will be a Sanskrit now. We'll read this Sanskrit verse. Again, the same method. I say, you repeat. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. Shri Bhagavan Yogasya Lakshanam Vakshye. Yogasya Lakshanam Vakshye. Sabijasya Nripatmaje. Sabijasya Nripatmaje. Mano yena eva vidina. Mano yena eva vidina. Prasannam yati satpatham. Prasannam yati satpatham. So this is the translation. Word for word. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. The personality of Godhead said, Yogasya, of the yoga system. Lakshanam, description. Vakshye, I shall explain. Sabijasya, authorized. Nripa Atmaje, O daughter of the king. Manaha, the mind. Yena, by which. Eva, certainly. Vidina, by practice. Prasannam, joyful. Yati, attains. Satpatham, the path of the absolute truth. What is important to know here is that this is spoken by the Supreme Personality of Godhead Kapila Dev to his mother Devahuti. This is what he says. Goranga? The Personality of Godhead said, "My dear mother, O daughter of the king, how shall I explain to you?" Goranga? "How shall I explain to you the system of yoga, the object of which is to concentrate the mind?" So one more time. He spoke to his mother. He said, "How shall I explain to you the system of yoga, which is the object, meaning the desired object? Whenever we do something, there's some goal to it. And the goal of this particular system of yoga is to concentrate the mind. By practicing this system, one becomes joyful and progressively advance towards the path of the absolute truth." So there's three things here. First is the concentrating the mind. The yoga is this system is to concentrate the mind. And then by practicing this as a side product, like we have taken the medicine, and they said, by Nebenwirkungen, look at the bio, what is that? How does it say this quickly? They say that you don't understand. But the point is that there's a Nebenwirkung. What is the Nebenwirkung? Side product or byproduct of what you do, side effect. The side effect of what you do is actually of this yoga is that one becomes joyful and at the same time progressively advance towards the path of devotional service, to understand God or Krishna. So meaning to understand God or Krishna is not an overnight achievement. We have somehow Guru touches us, as is described. Prabhupada uses this example. Guru touches you and all the electricity from Guru comes to you and you are suddenly self-realized. It doesn't work that way. It's actually a progressively advancing towards the path. Our great teacher in our line, in our school, Bhakti Vinod Thakur, has said, the progress means gradual adjustment towards right direction. So spiritual life is a gradual adjustment towards the right direction. There's the right direction, but we have to find a way how to gradually adjust ourselves. Or as Prabhupada said, to mold our life or to somehow make our life in such a way to fit to this path. So this is spiritual life. But first of all, as mind has to be concentrated. And therefore our society, ISKCON, Hare Krishna movement, is known as the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. This is an interesting point here. Krishna consciousness. That we are conscious of Krishna. So meaning that we have to be in our mind conscious of Krishna. Because this is ultimately the goal of life, to think of Krishna always. Because as we know, at the end of our life, whatever we think, our mind will carry us to our next destination. So therefore, mind or consciousness is very, very important in spiritual life. We should not undermine it. Sometimes it is said, we have a ritual, certain rituals we perform. This is my religion. We do so many things. But what is in your mind? What is actually in your consciousness? This is important. So here, when when Kapila Dev, incarnation of Krishna, avatar, we have learned in our Bhakti program, there's 6 different types of avatars. And one of them, this avatar is meaning the one who descends. The avatar of Krishna is not born like we are born. Actually descends from the spiritual realm, descends to this material world to offer some teaching. So this is what Kapila Dev said. So before Devahuti, his mother actually, started speaking, she said, let me first, before I asking questions, I want to tell you something. And she said this very interesting thing here. Number one, she realized that something is wrong in this material world. She said this, I'm very sick of the disturbance caused by my material senses. Because of this disturbance of my senses, I have fallen into the abyss of ignorance. Meaning our senses are very disturbed, meaning that the disturbed senses are disturbing the mind. And therefore we have so many, I didn't research the statistics, how many people are seeking help from the different psychiatrists nowadays. More and more than ever. I cannot imagine 300 years ago there were many psychiatrists in this area, in Germany. People are working, they had their family, they worked on the field. Not much time to be agitated with their senses, not much time to think about anything else. People work, they sleep, they get married, that's it. Their sense gratification is fulfilled, and they have a decent life. But nowadays people are very disturbed because most of the people are idle. You know what idle means? Idle. Anybody knows the word idle?
Ich würde sagen selbstverliebt.
Nee, idle means bored. You're sitting doing nothing. This idle means this. You're just sitting, you have nothing to do. And when you sit like this, then you naturally think, oh, maybe I have this, or maybe I'm gluten intolerant. Did anybody hear about gluten intolerance 20 years ago? Nobody. And suddenly, so many people are gluten intolerant. I'm not saying, this is genuine thing, maybe. But the point is that we invent so many things out of our boredom because we have nothing to do. Idleness. Meaning there's not much going on. And it will become more and more like this. It is described, I actually just read recently, that one of the side products of developing so much technology in the next 30 years will be that more and more people will be unemployed because they cannot catch up with so much technological progress. You have already old people, me included. I can use the basic computer, but to understand this is too much for me. Even because just to do banking is like a big deal, to find out all these things, how to do this and then click here, click there, then you have then you have to download app on your phone to actually be to open your bank account. This is for many people, this is difficult to understand. And as the technology progresses, it will become more and more. So therefore, this disturbance caused by material senses will become more and more. And because of the disturbance, the mind creates all kinds of difficult situations. Most of the problems we have in the material world are not problems at all. It is just we create them in our mind. For example, teenagers, they have this important thing what they do on the chat rooms and whatever. But in reality, this is not real. Not real. They get depressed and whatever. But this is just some screen, some plastic toy. But we created so much importance of things that they actually not existing, not real. So therefore, Devahuti realizes this, and the first step of spiritual life is to realize that something is wrong, not good with me. I am not happy because whatever solutions I try to find with my material senses do not work. So something is wrong. This is the first step. Unless we realize that something is wrong with this world, that something is wrong with me, we will never be somehow content to find the path to the spiritual life. We'll think, yeah, it's nice singing, nice food, but that's about it. Then second thing what Devahuti said, your Lordship is my only means of getting out of this darkest region of ignorance, because you are my transcendental I. So meaning, so meaning Devahuti realized this verse what we recite a lot, Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. The spiritual master, the Krishna, is actually the eye, which we can see, or the window which we can see the spiritual world, the reality. Here we have all these pictures on the wall. As Srila Prabhupada, our teacher, says, these pictures are not actually pictures. They are the windows to the spiritual world. So whenever we see the pictures, we should not see them as something, we should think this is like a window, somebody opened the window, we can see the actual spiritual world. So this is a nice meditation. So Devahuti realized that Krishna is the actually only solution to get out of these problems with the senses and with the mind, and which create these problems, creating darkness of ignorance. And therefore she called Krishna, you are my eye. And in this verse I recited, Krishna is also a spiritual knowledge is compared to a torchlight. If there's a darkness, we have a torchlight, we have a light, and we say, oh, now I can see. So this is the first two steps of Devahuti, of mother of Kapiladev. And Kapiladev then assured, don't worry, you're actually quite qualified to hear. Because, again, as we think last week or 2 weeks ago, we learned in our Bhakti class that there's a qualification of a guru, but there's also qualification of a disciple, meaning there's a qualification of a speaker of spiritual knowledge, and there's a qualification of those who hear the spiritual knowledge. It's not like anybody can actually hear and understand spiritual knowledge. It's not possible. Even I think Jesus said, don't throw the pearls before the swine. And what is this? What is the problem throwing pearls before the swine? Because swine will not understand this is actually a valuable thing, a pearl. Swine will think, nothing to eat here, useless. So in the same way, if somebody is totally unqualified or influenced by the mode of darkness, then the spiritual knowledge will appear not interesting at all. I said, what is this chanting? Remember recently, a few years ago, I was visiting my family, years ago. I was visiting my family. And then some old friends of mine, before I became a devotee, they asked me to play basketball with them. So I said, okay, old friends. I didn't play 25 years, but anyways, hang out a little bit. So we are talking a little bit like this and that. And one of the old friends, he started asking me about Hare Krishna, all this. What do you do? And I told him about chanting, and he said, wow, this sounds very interesting. Sounds really, really good. I said, yeah, that's why I do it. I live like this, so for me it's very good, And I think it's very good for everybody, and the other friends are laughing, this is not, some chanting, whatever. And then 2 years later, I got a message from another old friend who wrote to me. He said, this person I was speaking to when we were playing basketball died. And he was young. He was, 40-something, 5. And he said that the last moments of his life, he was laying in bed. And he said, now I need me, my name. He said, now I need him to come to chant for me. He realized this is actually the actual valid knowledge. And then the other guy was laughing. He said, imagine these are his last words. I need a chant. What are you going to chant for him? What does that mean? So meaning the two people from the same city, same age, but one of them understood the importance, the power of chanting, actually, the power of spiritual practice. And he was thinking at my time of death, I would like that this person, me, is there at this time to chant for me. But the other, completely in ignorance, he thought, what is this? I'm singing. What will that do? He said, what will your chanting do to him? So meaning, as I said earlier, there's a qualification, there has to be qualification of a guru, who is a spiritual master, who is a speaker, but also there has to be qualification of a disciple. What kind of qualification disciple needs to have? And this is what it is. Kapila Dev said, you have undertaken sacred vows, meaning you are qualified to speak because you have undertaken sacred vows. So we have in the Hare Krishna movement, we have some sacred vows. At initiation time, we get some sacred vows. Also, we have a sacred vow to chant Hare Krishna, and so on and so forth. We have different vows. Then, you worship the Lord with great faith. Faith is very important. You cannot worship someone if you don't have faith. In the past, people will actually, even nowadays, of course, people die for their country. They have faith. I want to protect. This is my land. But if you don't have faith, you will not do it. Of course, if you're mercenary for money. But these are very few people. So if you want to worship, if you want to actually practice serious spiritual life, we have to have faith. We have to have faith. And this faith is gradually developed. Faith doesn't come overnight. For me, I did not believe in Krishna. Okay, yes, now immediately I believe. It takes some years to actually develop firm faith. This is in Sanskrit called Shraddha. Shraddha, firm faith. That you believe, as Devahuti said, you are the only one. What did she say? You are the only means to get out of this darkness of ignorance of the material world. Krishna. No, this is the Devahuti tells to Kapila. You are the only one. You are the only one. So for this statement, to say this, you have to work a little bit. It takes some time to develop this faith. This is called Shraddha. So this is, Kapila said also. So basically you did these vows, you worship in great faith, and then you have a sensory control. You're controlling the senses. Unrestricted senses, Prabhupada says, unrestricted sense gratification and spiritual life go not together. Nicht zusammen. Geht nicht zusammen. If you want to enjoy your life, now you come to the Hare Krishna movement, listen a little bit of a lecture, kirtan, then just go across the street, go to the kneipe and have a couple of beers, eat a little bit of a dinner. It's not happening. It's not happening. The spiritual life is not happening because there has to be some sensory control. And the reason why there should be sensory control is because by sensory control we have a clear mind. We spoke today also about four legs of religion, and we have to actually clear mind is very important. And therefore we have these 4 regulative principles, as Srila Prabhupada calls them, 4 regulative principles of freedom. That we actually, by performing this, by not accepting unrestricted sense gratification, we become free. And our mind is clear. We can think clearly. Because if you're not thinking clearly, we are led by our senses. We cannot think, we're sitting here, we're thinking, I really like to, drink one beer, and I cannot sit here because it's boring, so talking about this and that, I want to drink some. So our senses will drag us out, drag us somewhere out. How many times anybody has experience, been dragged by the senses? We're dragged. You don't want to go there, but you're dragged by the senses. So, you are sensory control, and then you are observing religious practices. So this is also important. The people observe some religious practices. There's so many different religions and people observe so many different practices. So this is important with you. And in the end, Kapila Dev said, and then you do austerities. You do austerities. Austerity means you are voluntarily giving up on something. Voluntarily giving up on something. Like, for example, all of you here who are here, you gave up your time to come to sit here. You give up your comfort, and instead of sitting on a couch, some of you are sitting on the floor. So you give up something. So this is called austerity. So those, for example, today, there's a Kadashi. I don't know if anybody from India knows. There's a Kadashi. We don't eat certain things. Some people fast. So this is also an austerity. There's different kinds of austerities. And in the end, Kapila Dev told to Devahuti, and you're giving your money in charity, or you're giving charity. In India, charity is very important. So much charity work. And also here, in the West, there's so much charity organization. They give charity, and people know, because also this is a matter of the heart. You see somebody else is suffering or struggling, and you want to give charity. Of course, there are different types of charity in the Bhagavad Gita described: charity mode of goodness, charity mode of passion, charity mode of ignorance. If you see somebody really drunk and you say, "What can I do for you?" and he said, "I really need a beer," you buy him a beer. So it's charity mode of ignorance. It's a charity, but it's a mode of ignorance. Then we have a charity mode of passion. We expect something in return. I give you charity, but then you vote for me. Whatever, whatever. Whatever, you have a different... But then we also charity in the mode of goodness. Charity in the mode of goodness is when we give charity to a worthy cause, spiritual cause. Therefore, we have different temples. The different, people sponsor the deities clothes for Jamashtami, for example. So this is all charity in mode of goodness. So these are the qualifications. So Devahuti did all these things so she can actually be qualified to hear the spiritual knowledge. So meaning that we cannot expect just the spiritual knowledge to come from nothing. We have to actually also do the work from our side. It's like anything else. If you want to get married, it's not like now. Of course, nowadays they have soon to come. Man can marry a robot woman, or robot woman can marry a woman can marry a robot man, and they do whatever you want. You program. I want you to sing. I want you to. But actual relationship between two people is a both-way relationship. So we have to do. Man has to do his part. A woman has to do her part. Relationship between children and parents also. Kids have to do their part. Parents have to do their part. So everybody has to do their part in some kind of exchange. So in the spiritual life, we have to also do our part to actually achieve something. Because nothing comes, as they say, there's no free lunches in this world. You go and somebody offer you free lunch and there's something. There's some reason behind it. Why is this free lunch? Oh, no, there must be some reason. So it's like this. We offer something and we get something back. So all these things which I just said, Devahuti was very qualified. Kapila Dev was also telling her that you're qualified. And then she had this right attitude. And with this kind of attitude, and from the help from, as they said, from the eye of the spiritual, our Guru or Krishna, we come to actually control the mind. Because controlled mind is so important. And equally, uncontrolled mind is very devastating, very destructive. You see people who are depressed. What do? They drink or they sit and they do nothing, and they poison themselves and they poison everybody else around. And some of them even kill themselves or kill others. Get intoxicated, and run over with the car with somebody, don't even care. So controlling the mind is very important, because controlled mind, one becomes, as Kapila Dev said, practicing, one can become joyful, prasanna, become very joyful, and then progressively advance towards the path of the absolute truth. So not only that we are controlling our mind, we are standing like this, they have these pictures in the mountains, you're in the snow. What is the name? Willem Hof, or what is his name? Wim Hof. He's sitting in the ice and he's controlling his mind. No, we are controlling our mind. That means we are very happy. Innerly, we are very happy because we allow Krishna, or spiritual energy, to come into our own heart, and therefore, naturally, we are happy because our mind is controlled. Mind doesn't give all kinds of, no, but you should do this, but you should do this is very important, and then you think, oh, should I go there? Especially those who know a little bit the temple life of the Hare Krishna movement. In the morning, when somebody chants Hare Krishna, you can see, just observe, and you can see whose mind is uncontrolled. People are walking back and forth, running, going outside, then coming back, then sit a little bit, then sleep with 1-2 minutes, then wake up, then go to the bathroom, coming back, and this is mind. Mind is dragging you around. Uncontrolled mind is like uncontrolled horse. Horse is powerful. So when horse goes, you cannot do anything. So therefore, it is better to have this, follow the system on which you can control the mind. So, this is what Kapila Dev says. First of all, one should execute his prescribed duties to the best of his abilities. Meaning, one should do one's duty. Not that as again, today we spoke on our Bhakti program about different duties, about different ashrams, different varnas, and all of them have particular duty. If you're a householder, you have a certain duty. The man has a certain duty towards the wife. The wife has a certain duty towards the husband. So we all have different duties or different things we have to do. So if we do this, executing, then one is becoming very satisfied with whatever comes. So one should be very satisfied is as much gain he achieves by the grace of the Lord. So whatever one achieves, this is okay, this is mercy of Krishna. We have so many nice stories that one person was, something happened to him, and he said, wow, something happened to one young man in the village. So they called the guru who was living in a tree. They said, what happened to him? He said, yeah, something happened. They came and somehow his finger was cut, and they said, oh, everybody's tragedy. And the guru said, yeah, it's just the mercy of Krishna, don't worry about it. What kind of answer is this? Mercy of God, This man lost his... And then after some time, some army came in. They said, we are picking up everybody who is of the age to go to the war. So they wanted to pick up this young man. They said, oh, you don't have a finger. So they said, you're not going. So they came to the guru. What happened? They said, this is all mercy of God. And there's another. And in the end, everything is mercy of God. The guru actually saw as everything mercy of God. Because one is satisfied with whatever comes. It doesn't mean that we are lazy, that we now sit and, outside in the park and say, if God wants me to eat, I will eat, otherwise I will not. Of course, this is a higher level, actually. We can also do this if you're on a really high level, but I don't recommend. But point is that whatever little we have, we should not run after the money. We should not be influenced by the Werbung Maschine. Wie sagt man das? What's this Werbung? But the advertisement machinery. Because advertisement machinery is actually, one philosopher said, they're teaching you how to desire. And this is such a profound way. They are teaching you how to desire. Because you did not know that these things existed. But they are telling you, and you say, oh, I actually desire this. Like when I was very, very young, we had only 2 TV programs at that time. Very nice, and one program started at 5 afternoon. So one program really, and then the advertisement was not much. And then one day the new product came, the peanut butter, erdnusscreme. And everybody's wondering, what is peanut? What is butter? I've never seen peanuts in my life. Peanut? In Europe, peanuts? And then everybody, and there was very nice advertisement. It's flying from some UFO. So then UFO is bringing the alien. The alien is bringing the box, and he said, the peanut butter. And he gives, and I was thinking, wow, I want peanut butter. I did not know what is that thing, but the advertisement was so alien. I want to meet this alien to give me the peanut butter. I was young, 6 or something, 7. And then when finally the peanut butter came to the stores, I ran to the store. Remember, I was, the store's opening 6 o'clock in the morning. I was 6:10. I was already running to my mother. I want to buy peanut butter. He said, from Monday on, in every store, peanut butter. And I ran to the store to buy peanut butter. And I bought it, and I have a peanut butter. I was so excited. And I opened the peanut butter and tried this. I almost not vomited, but I was very close. I said, this is disgusting. This is disgusting. I cannot. So what is this? This what I saw in the TV, and this thing is completely 2 different things. But they taught me how to desire. And this is just one small example. Nowadays there's so many different things we have. So many, if you want sports, you put this dozen, whatever they call this. They are ZN, And then you can get this for unlimited. You can Netflix, unlimited movies, unlimited this. I saw this in, what's the name of this? Spotify. You can buy this and that, and you get 700 million songs, Who can hear 700 million songs? Who? But they say, you have to have, from 1927 album, whatever. They are teaching you how to have things you do not need. This was a famous saying by a philosopher called Socrates in the old Greece. He once went to the market and he was looking, because Socrates was known as a very austere person. He had only one gamsha, one cloth, nothing. So he would go to the market and he was looking, He would go to one stand and he would see and he said, this is interesting. So people came to him and Socrates, you will not, what are you looking? Well, he said, I'm just looking at all these people, all these things I do not need. He said, I'm making a list of all the things I do not need. So this is in the spiritual life, we need very little in reality to maintain our life together. We do not need to eat bread with ashes on it. We do not need to walk barefoot on the snow like some other. There was one saint actually who did this. We just live our normal life and not run after the money, run after the possessions. My neighbor has a good car, I should have a better car. No, we are happy what we have, because time has to be used in a smart way to practice spiritual life. Time is very important. Again, we learn on our Bhakti program. Time, I am, Krishna says, the destroyer of all things. The time is a destroyer. Nobody's getting younger in this room. I don't know, maybe there's somebody, but I don't think so. Everybody's going older and older and older and older and older. And in the end, there will be no us. In 100 years, this temple, if it exists still here, there will be a completely set of different people. And we'll be dead, all of us. Finished. And then what have we done with our time? Did we use the time in spiritual life? Or did we use time to eat peanut butter? This is the question. So, this is what Kapila Dev told to Devahuti. I think this is okay for now. Yes.
Gratitude for the lecture. Because of the time, is it always in the Vedic scripture has to be seen negative as the destroyer? But because in my mind was now the time can also be positive used in Bhakti. So how is it in scripture? Because you said that time is the destroyer, that Krishna said that time is the destroyer, and at the same time I had in my mind to make so much spiritual things and Bhakti and show Krishna and then use this time so the time is positive. Also I don't know how to explain it otherwise. Maybe I can say.
Yes, okay. Well, time is still destroyer. If we have no time, we can practice spiritual life eternally.
Yeah, okay.
You know, we can chant Hare Krishna we do not need to go to sleep, for example. Gopis, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is described that gopis were cursing Lord Brahma. And the reason why the gopis, Brahma is the great personality, and the gopis cursed him because they said, every time we blink, this is like how many split of a second, we do not see Lord Krishna. This is a disaster for us. So comparing to Ewigkeit, to the eternity, it is not good.
Okay. I didn't see it from this perspective.
Yes. So it is always better to therefore, and second thing, we do not know how much time we have left. And we may not perfect our Krishna consciousness in this life. So therefore we will have to take another life, which is unnecessary trouble. So therefore we try to race against the time, as they say. So we are racing against the time. Time is 24 hours only, and we need to sleep certain time, we need to eat certain time, we do some bodily this and that. And this is always hours we could have actually chant. Or we could have do devotional service. And in spiritual world, there is no such a thing as time. So therefore, everything is always. So Krishna, when we serve Krishna, when we perform any devotional service, it just is eternal. So this is a little bit difficult for us to understand. Yes?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
First of all, thank you very much, and please accept my humble obeisance. Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, I was having one question that a normal person who is trying to become a very good devotee and he is not living in the temple, and he is having some worldly duties.
Yes?
For us, important is that from within we are completely detached from material nature, and with therefore 4 regulative principles, we are actually close. But there is always something, by 1 or 2 things, with which we are attached to some material stuff. And then, because of this some attachment, it feels like we are very much far away from a good progression in spirituality.
Yes.
So, even though it's like, we can see like right there, we know this is true, this is not true. For example, when we do japa, and as we did it for some time, we started enjoying, and we have some knowledge because of great devotees like you giving us lecture that what is good, what is not good. At that time, we want that, we just continue this japa, it's very enjoying, And the moment we finish that, and we do our worldly duties, somehow we got attached by some time that now we don't want to do japa for some time. And now the mind will say, no, continue this. So like there is a duality. When we do japa, we don't want to leave that. And when we do material stuff, we want to do japa, but we can't. For example, even though we finish all of our regulative japas for sure,
Yes.
but the main point is we want to completely detach from the material stuff within. We know that we are living in Maya, but we don't want to have a single attachment from Maya, and that is very hard, especially when we are very close and it's not going. And that one small thing is coming in so much way within us. So what should we do in this thing?
The first thing is that we have to understand that Grihastha Ashram or family life is not ideal ashram for spiritual realization. It's not ideal. It's not like you never seen in Srimad Bhagavatam said somebody has become grihastha and this is the ideal way to practice spiritual life. So therefore, as Prabhupada says, first of all, the material world is not a good place to practice spiritual life because there's so much disturbance. So Prabhupada says we should make the best deal out of bad bargain. So in the grihastha life, in the family life, therefore, as I repeated, I have to repeat, we have to do things as our duties. So our spiritual life has to be a matter of duty. If we set ourselves that I'm chanting 6 rounds a day or 12 rounds a day, Hare Krishna mantra, I'm chanting it every day. I can chant in my free time maybe 12 or 15 or 25 or 75, but never less than 6 rounds. Meaning we set certain standards, with our authorities, with our spiritual mentors. We set the standards. What is my standard? What realistically I can practice? How much can I chant? How much can I come to the temple and serve? How much, whatever, monthly donation maybe I give or time I give. I can do 2 hours a week service. And this is my sadhana. This is my religious practice. This is my sadhana. And I don't do less than that. And this will give me also, we also today spoke about, when we follow the instructions, we get certain powers with this. We get Shakti. We follow the instructions of our spiritual master. So if I promise, so the vows are very important, vow or promises. I promise to Krishna, I want to chant 6 rounds every day. This is realistic to me. I can wake up at 10 to 6 or quarter to 6, and I can chant 6 rounds a day. And I can do, once a week I can visit the temple, or I can give whatever donation monthly, or I can participate in whatever. I can read Bhagavad Gita 3 verses a day, something like this. And we promise this, and we follow this for 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. And after 10 years, but we never go down from our promises. And after 10 years, I feel confident, or whatever years, I'm just putting some number. I feel confident enough that I can now increase. Instead of 6 rounds, I can chant 16 rounds. And then instead of 2 hours a week, I can do 6 hours a week. Something like this. And so, Shanai Shanair Uparamed, there's a verse in the Bhagavad Gita, means gradually, step by step. So step by step, as we make progress. I think even this verse was saying here, progressively, verse of what we read, progressively advance towards the path. So progressive means step by step. You cannot expect, suddenly, because we have so many other things. But progressively, like a scale. You have a material life here, you have spiritual life here. So your material life may be 99 kilo, and 1 kilo spiritual life, and spiritual life is hanging there. Oh my God, I can maybe visit the temple once a month, and that's it, And then slowly, Shanai Upadamet. So the 100 kilo becomes 70 kilos, 50 kilos, slowly until one day, then it becomes like this. Then material life is only, your kids are married, your job is, you're already 70 years old, you have nothing anymore material to do, so why not now I can increase my chanting, I can increase my surrender to Krishna. Something like this. Okay, noch was? Do we have anything else? Yeah, Nimai.
You said in the class that faith develops gradually. How does one get the initial faith?
Sorry?
How does one get the initial faith in the first place? For it to develop gradually.
How do you get initial faith? Initial faith you get by being brave. And to be brave means to be brave enough to come to the Hare Krishna temple. I was once in southern, I don't remember which city was this, but the temple was interesting. The gate of the temple went to the hallway, and the hallway was always dark. So when you look from the outside, from the street, it looks like you are going to some dark hole inside, you know. So there was one boy who I knew from before. We met him somewhere on Harinam and book distribution. And he was standing in front of the door of the Hare Krishna temple, first time. And he was like reluctant to enter in. And I said, don't worry, if you come in, we'll let you go out, you know. because he had this fear. And then he told me he actually has a fear. Because he said, you know, there's an outside light, everything, and you go inside the dark hallway. You think like, oh my God, will I come out of this? So you have to be brave. So I said, don't worry about it. I promise we will let you out. You know? So he came inside and he liked it very much, and later on he became a devotee. So we have to make this initial step and to be brave. And then if Krishna arranges that we meet somebody very nice, or this is another thing, you know. We may meet somebody's, you know, very nice, somebody's very... Sometimes Krishna arranges to us due to our previous life. That we somehow, devotees tell us something and we become attracted. You know. We meet devotees on the street and then start following the Harinam, or we go online and we read something and we think, wow, this is interesting, and you know, something like this. But bravery is very important. Make this brave step inside the dark hole or the Hare Krishna. It's not so dark after all. You know, you'll see. Anything else? Yes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
From your last answer, I understood that we must make more beautiful and humongous temples to attract more people to come to get that bravery to come inside the temple.
Yes.
But I was thinking, like, if the government is going to make such temples, and if the government itself is Krishna conscious, don't you think it's a better idea to make a Krishna conscious politics and completely transform this world in the fastest way possible?
I'll talk to you later. I need men like you. I need a man like you. Yes, Srila Prabhupada actually wanted the whole world to become Krishna conscious, not because we want to spread our religion, but because the world will be happier. Actually, the world will be happier. And Prabhupada, in the 1970s, some devotees started a political party, devotee political party. And devotees party was called In God We Trust. So we can start it again in Germany if you want. We can think about it. Yes, and Prabhupada also, if you go to Vrindavan, Shri Vrindavan Dham, there's a Prabhupada's house. And inside of Prabhupada's house, there's a different display of his personal items. His cloth, his writing pen, this dictaphone, everything's this personal stuff that Prabhupada used. And then there's one letter also on display. Prabhupada wrote with his own hand. And this letter Prabhupada wrote to Indira Gandhi. Actually, this is the letter, not a letter, this is a list. The Prabhupada wanted to meet Indira Gandhi, who was at that time the president of India, prime minister in, how they call it. And he wanted to talk to her about these certain points. And one point, he had, I think 11 or 12, I don't exactly remember how many points. But Prabhupada was very much adamant that first of all, she becomes the queen of India. And second of all, her son Rajiv Gandhi becomes king of India. Prabhupada wanted this because this is the Vedic system. But this is politics. Then Prabhupada wanted to close the slaughterhouses. He wanted to all the Ämter, wie sagt man Ämter of English? Government employees. Government employees, Ämter. No, the people who work in Amt. Government employees. Die Leute, die Amt arbeiten. What? Government workers. All the government workers Actually, Prabhupada wanted that they do half an hour every day. That they stop working, go out of their offices on the street and chant Hare Krishna for half an hour. Imagine in Bundestag, you know, all the government, all this Bundesminister, they come out once every half an hour, every day half an hour, and then just Hare Krishna, Harinam Ruchi, you know, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Mahavishnu Swami comes with there. And then they go back. I mean, when you look like this, their consciousness will be very good, I'm sure. You know, they chant Hare Krishna half an hour, they will come back with a fresh mind to look at the problems of life. And then what else Prabhupada? Prabhupada wanted all kinds of things, but this is all part of Prabhupada's idea to actually change the society. Because, again, when you change the society to become Krishna conscious, the society will benefit. It will be benefit to society. The people will be much more peaceful. There will be so much murder, so much thievery going on. You know, if you're a devotee, how would you do violence? You know, it's Krishna's. You know, everything is Krishna's devotee. So there's so much benefits for this. Okay, I think this is it for today. I thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Lord Kapila Dev ki jai.